What is my role as a mashpia? And what responsibilities do I have? Oh my gosh. What your role as a mashpia and responsibility you have is that you'll never be able to do it well enough. That's the short answer. You'll always be guilty of having underperformed. I don't mean to be cynical. But if you read the Sichos, listen to the Sichos, that the Rebbe spoke in the summer of 86, when he talked about Achei Temimim with incredible passion. I've said this many times, that the Rebbe would often say, or occasionally say, he's asking us a bakosh, he's asking us a request. Rarely he would say bakosh nafshis. He's making a request which goes to his nefesh, which is, for the Rebbe to say, I'm asking you a bakosh, I'm asking you a request that touches my soul. I remember the Rebbe saying it, but the tone was so simple that it was hard to truly appreciate how earnest it was. Twice the Rebbe said bakosh atzmis, a request that goes to my essence. And the first was Achei Temimim. The second was Hakel in 1988, the year the Rebbe in Chayamushka passed away, Tafshin Mamches. And the first was Achei Temimim in the summer of 86. The Rebbe called it bakosh nafshis or bakosh atzmis. What's a mashpia's job? Everything. You have to be a good friend. You have to give good advice. You have to lead a person in the direction of serving Hashem. You have to lead a person in the direction of being able to develop themselves. You have to lead a person to be able to be b'simcha. You have to be able to correct them if they're making mistakes in how they're treating their wife, or how they're treating their husband, how they're treating their children, how they're treating their parents. It's an impossible job. Because what the Rebbe expects from us is perfection in all things, like he expected from himself. And the role of the mashpia is very, very complete. You have to be wise, you have to be practical, you have to be available, you have to be humble, you have to be honest, you have to be forward, you can't be intimidated, you can't tell a person what they want to hear, you have to tell a person what the truth is. It's a wow job, it's an impossible job. And when you're another person's mashpia, your job is not only to empathize, to make them feel good, your job is to push them forward in the direction of Yiddishkeit and in the direction of Midas Tevis, in all other things associated with that priority. The Rebbe spoke about Mashpiyim calling people up in the middle of the night and asking them what's going on in their home. So, what's my answer to your question? My answer to your question, you have to do your best. Everybody's busy. Mashpiyim are certainly busy. And you have to be very honest and realistic with yourself about what you undertake. If you're involved with people and you feel like you can't give them honest advice, or they're not listening to you, you can't be their mashpia. But if you're in a position to help people, you have to be kind, you have to be loving, you have to be accepting, and you have to be honest. The job of mashpia is first and foremost to make the people with whom he's involved more Yiddish and more Chassidus. That means more frum. More frum means more careful about davening with a minyan, more careful about the food they put in their mouth, more careful about what the words that come out of their mouth, more careful about starting Shabbos on time or early, and all these kinds of things. And more Chassidus. More Chassidus means more involved in the warmth that sustains us. The Fabrengen, the Maimach Chassidus, the Chassidish story. And these are the kinds of things that you can't just do once in your life. They're constant. And it's the mashpia's role to provide all of this. And the Rebbe wants each one of us to have a Rav. And the Rebbe says in the beginning of Tanya about the Zikenim Shebe'ira Shel Yosem Yad Lepeh Lisnag B'Shiflas Shel Sheker, meaning the mashpia who's in a position to be able to provide counsel for another person shouldn't shy away from that responsibility, but should take it on and do it properly. So it's a very difficult job. It's very important, and you have to do it b'emunah, meaning you have to be able to be honest with the people that you're helping. If you feel like you can't be honest with them, you can't be their mashpia, and it's your job to push them, kindly and gently, but to push them. And of course, more than anything else, you have to be a dugma chaya, to be a living example. A living example of a frum yid, a living example of a passionate, warm, chassidish yid, a living example of a person who has midas tevis, good character. And none of us are perfect, right? The Gemara says that in the time before Mashiach, the Rav says to the Talmud, Tul kisim mibein shinach. He approaches his students and says, there's a piece of wood between your teeth. Meaning to say you've got a small deficiency in your avodah, and his response to his mashpia is, Tul koira mi bein einecha, you have a big column, a big beam between your eyes, meaning you're complaining about my little deficiencies, you've got much bigger ones. We're living in that kind of a time. So we do our best. You shouldn't shy away from the responsibility. You do your best. And of course you have to grow yourself. Part of what the mashpia needs to do is grow. And in growing himself, he's becoming a person who can give advice to others and example to others of this idea of hard work in Avodas Hashem. I have another question about mashpiyim, which I'm going to address separately, but I'm answering the question that was asked here. I guess I gave you mashpia overload, but if you would say that this question to me is personal and I have guilt associated with this question, you would be absolutely right.